Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
So when I was working on Selena, the series for Netflix, to play the role of Abraham Quintanilla, I put on a specific amount of weight, which I was fine doing, but also realizing it could be difficult to get that weight off. I got back into my physical regimen with James Leha, but I was still having trouble with just those last amounts. And that's when I got to meet Arturo from Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic. And just the products that he gave me kind of put me over the edge. I feel great about myself.
Back at you and Gloves Off. I'm Professor Buitron. I'm here with a person I call a brother of mine, not only in the arts, but in life, Grandmaster Bram Frank, who has been involved in Filipino martial arts for a very long time, and he has pioneered many, many working tools. But today we're going to talk a little bit about the need to train, the need to learn how to defend yourself. How are we doing today, my brother? You doing good?
People sort of, well, the reason I haven't been talking a lot on Facebook is, remember, I hurt my vocal cords, but overall, God's blessed me. I'm glad I would only do this because of you, because I love you so dearly. And I just made myself a cup of tea, so I have some voice for all the Gloves Off listeners. But yeah, overall, no matter what, God's blessed me to have you in my life and to be able to talk. So yeah, be glad to talk about training.
Yeah, let's touch base on training, because in today's world, it really hasn't changed much. We've always needed to learn how to defend yourself, but more so in today's world with all the different ideologies and the way the crime is going, the way things are going. A lot of people kind of put in the back burner, I really don't need to train. I already know, or I already saw one time, took one class. And to me, I think they're just beckoning to be a victim.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I started to say about being sick. Taught me a great deal over the last few years as you watch, because some of your watchers may see I probably lost about 100-something pounds. But a lot of guys, we get strong and we think, as you said, I don't need to train anymore. And we forget that doesn't stay with us. So one of the things about always training is every day my body's different. I've had to relearn things I learned before because I don't know what's going to happen out there. And I can't count on what I could do when I was 28. And you think, I got it. I don't have to train anymore. And so I try to train a little bit every day, even now, after almost 60 years, because I'm heading towards 72. After almost 60 years of doing this, I still found out I got to train every day. I know you do. You train every day. We learn something new and how to apply it. And it's taught me how to apply things. And I understand concepts applied for real, not just in my head that I can just brute force it, because I don't have brute force anymore. But the bad guys are still out there. That doesn't mean, so because they're out there, I can't sit back on my laurels and think, oh, I've got this, as you were saying. I need to go, not only do I need to stay up on it, I need to learn how to cheat better, how to use my tools better, and how to apply what I do, because otherwise you got to go hide your head in the sand and never go out of your house.
Absolutely. The same thing. I'm not the same as I was when I was in my 20s and fighting in the ring and doing everything else. It's different in time, and we find that things we can make easier, and only because we make it easier, we try to teach our students that it's easier, but in actuality, they also have to know how to use the force behind it. We already know how to use the force behind it, and we make things easier. But I think, like you said, I think the training, I train daily, I teach daily, and it's changed a little bit. When you grew up and when I grew up, the need was different.
There's, we need, brother Paul, there's crazies out there now. stuff that we used to read about or only see in movies and go, that can't be real. There's lunatics out there who only want to instigate an incident. They're not, it's not about, I don't like the way you looked at me, or I'm going to steal from you, or, they don't care. They're just, and a lot of them do not want to, and I mean no offense to any one group. There's a whole group of illegal aliens of all different kinds who don't want to assimilate not only to be an American, but into our total culture of respect for each other. They do whatever they want. So we have to be ready for that. And we can't ever not be the old Boy Scout thing of, be prepared.
Absolutely. And that right there is the key. It's not paranoia. It's being ready in case something happens. And I have a responsibility as a man to protect my children, to protect my wife, to protect those around me. I think
Yes.
now we're getting a lot of confusion because a lot of people think, well, I go to the gym. They might go train once a week, maybe, and they might train intensively for a month, and they say that's all I need. I took an 8-hour course, and that's all I'll ever need. No, you have to be on this, because if you're not on this, somebody else is, and somebody else is learning better. People say, "Oh, I do martial arts." The bad guys don't train. You and I know individuals that are in the martial arts, and they train anybody that they want. And there's good guys, bad guys, and just depends on the walk of life. And there's just
Yeah,
that's
the bad guys, you've seen them. Well, we picture like Cold War bad guys, or the 30s, 40s. Oh, there's the gangbang. In real, these guys are training all the time on their own, just a regular lifestyle. I've seen people who they're not physically fit. They've done what you said, or even if they're physically fit, they've done that, 30 days of training out of their whole life and go, I can do this, and go, you have no idea. The people who are primed to do this, they're ready. Their muscles are ready. Their brains are ready. And they don't care if they inflict harm on you. And if you don't have any kind of training to be able to at least stop the attack, you're going to be one of the statistics. And as you said, it's not a phobia, it's not, being scared of going out for real. It's, you have to be prepared to defend yourself. And no one says, and they think so, that I have to maim the other guy, killed it. You have to just be able to survive an attack. Anything after that, for you and me, I expect to do more. But I watch people. If you smack, that's going to be it. They're going to freak out the first time, because except for that one little class, the illusion in their head that there's some kind of Jason Bourne type thing, or they think they're oh my God, I just drew a blank. John Wick. It's not going to happen. Oh, I saw a movie and I trained a little bit. You know what's going to happen? Hey, man, it's not going to be like that. It's the bad guy doesn't know the script, and you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Absolutely.
Oh, no. I trained a little bit. I was Professor Paul. I took a whole 2 classes with him. I can do it. Oh, okay. You know what? Just so that the watch, because you and I joke around a little bit. I mean, because you're so dear to me. And I think about it. When I sit here designing tools, I'm here, and I know we all laugh at you. I actually go through, I train with myself as I pick up a tool. I walk over to the couch, I sit down, I pick up a tool, I play with little people. I said, every minute I'm reinforcing, what have I done? Do I have a feel for why? So when something happens, it's part of what I do. I don't think I know how not to train. My ex-wife, Mary, I think you met Mary. She goes, I just realized it's not your job. It's not your hobby. It's your life. I know it's your life. And I know that we try to instill that little bit of life. It's something you're never going to stop doing, training into the people who study with us and come to see us. Go, you're not going to do it once, as you said, go, oh, I did it. You need to do it all the time. Doesn't matter how much. You have to do it all the time. If you train more one day than the next, that's okay. But you need to do it. Some kind of review every day of what you're doing and prepare yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people, you said it right. When the first time somebody gets hit, all those techniques kept on going that way. And a lot of individuals have no idea, no reasoning. They have never seen it. And being in an altercation, it's a very violent situation. And you have to understand how to control it. You have to understand how to survive it. And above all, have to get away from it. So there's a lot of parameters that involve a self-defense altercation, especially nowadays. A lot of people think, I get this a lot. Oh, well, I got a gun. Yeah, but your gun's it's at home in a closet or in a safe. You don't have it with you. What happens if you don't pull out the gun? You forgot it and have you. We can go into all the little different scenarios and knickknacks, right?
That's what I mean. You said it right. Even the people go, I have a gun. I go, how often do you even dry fire at your house to practice or use those new laser inserts to practice? What? Well, ownership does not denote or connotate any kind of expertise or ability to use. What do you mean? It's like all the guys, again, no offense. The EDC carry guy, I carry this knife. I have this expensive. It's in my pocket. Do you have any idea what to do with it besides pull it out and look fancy? Well, I said, I know. You own a knife. I got it. You own a gun. I got it. More power to you. I'm going to, when you reach for it, that guy's going to clock you and you're not going to even think about pulling it out of your pocket. You're not going to access. But I love the ones like you say, I have it at home. It doesn't do a lot of good.
Yeah, I grew up with an old saying, around me a lot of times. It says a 22 in the pocket is better than a 45 in the closet. And that type of mentality, one needs to understand that there's a lot of people out there that think that. And when you come from the streets, as you do as well, and you live in there, and you see these altercations periodically, one has a little knack of how to move through it, how to understand the posturing of an individual, the threatening postures, everything else. But the normal individual right now that's likes to sit down and look at a movie and mentally masturbate, that they're doing supreme, like you said, they're going to be John Wick or Jason Bourne or what have you, whatever new character that comes out there. It's not the movies out there. And a self-defense situation is very, very violent, very hard, and it's very unforgiving. And what I mean by unforgiving is
there's no redos. There's no timeout. There's no referee. And just when you'd want it to end, the person involved, we don't have any say in it. The bad guy, unless we stop the bad guy, it's not going to stop.
Absolutely. And it gets me when I get a lot of people that call from all age brackets, and all different social backgrounds and levels and what have you here in Laredo and throughout. And they always say, oh, my son's getting bullied. Okay. So when are your classes? Or the classes are this and this and this and this day at this time coming over. Oh, well, he has basketball, he has baseball, and he has football, and he has everything else. But if I take him over there to you, do you think you can teach him one technique for him to use all the time? It's not going to happen. And second, you have to train to be proficient in it. And it's going to take a while before you become proficient in martial arts. And people say, no, it doesn't. It does.
It does.
And people say, I take time. Okay, but how are you training? Is there somebody guiding you that has a better eye? And you corrected me when I'm doing stuff. Hey, do it this way. Okay, better. And you need that type of instructional fortitude.
Right. And today, with video like this, if people have trained with you or me personally, to back it up, if they go, here's what I was doing, or can you review this? I'm working with a training partner at home. Sir, what what am I doing right or wrong? Do you have any advice? Technology helps us add to the quality of in-person training, not replace it. But I was thinking about when we talk about bad guys, and I might have told you the story off record. I was at the post office, and the automatic tellers. We only have one now at a post office, and this guy, the machine kept going, and and there's a whole line behind him. And I looked at him, and he kept doing the same thing, and it kept telling him can't go any further. So I gently tapped him and said, "Sir, may I help you? Don't you touch me." I'm like, look, if you hit that button on the bottom, it'll let you get past this screen to net. I know what I'm doing. And then he proceeded to bring up the same screen again that said, you can't go any further. So he looks at me. I said, bottom button. He got all nasty. Don't talk to him. Don't touch him. And then he touches the bottom button. The next screen comes up. Goes to do it again. He gets stuck. And I go, would you like some help? He goes, I'm not some fucking stupid person. And I'm thinking, you obviously are a stupid person because I'm trying to help you and you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So he finally gets mad, drops everything, goes to walk away and goes, F you, fuck you. He's screaming at me. Everyone in the post office looking at him. I said, sir, I'm so sorry. I used the machine. I was just trying to help you. The post people at the front counter go, Mr. Frank is real good at that. He'll show you how to use it. And he's like, fuck you. And everyone's staring at him. He gets all the way up to the front and starts yelling at them when he finally gets up to the front. And I'm like, hey, man. And everyone in the post office was like, sort of go, what a jerk. I said, I know. Oh, and as he walks out, because he had a fight with him in front, again, gets in my face and he's waiting for me to do something because he wanted an altercation. He wanted justification for his inadequacy because he couldn't follow directions.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking,
that's so absurd. That's the extreme that we never would have thought would happen in our growing up. And these people, all I tried to do was be polite. And being polite aggravated the hell out of them. Outrageous.
You just mentioned it. This happened to you at a post office. People need to understand that altercations like this, situations like this, are all over the place, and they can erupt at any particular time, at any time.
Yeah.
It can happen
I was not in a bad section of town. I wasn't in a back alley. I was in the post office in broad daylight, waiting with other people politely to mail some letters and stuff.
And it happens everywhere. You can be at the grocery store. You can be at walking lot. You're walking with your girlfriend, what have you. You're in the line.
Yeah, I got one. You said grocery store. I saw this older gentleman looking around lost. And I said, sir, can I help you? I go to Publix, once a day. I like to see what, and, part of my training, go see what's fresh because I buy only little bits of fresh stuff. Guy goes, how dare you call me sir? He had a beard like yours, big guy. And I'm looking, I went, oh, I said, sir, I'm so sorry. That's not my pronouns. You know what I ought to do to you? And I'm like, so John, the manager of Publix, and I goes, Bram, can I help you? He goes, sir, if Bram doesn't know, how can I help you? He goes, how dare you call me sir? John looks at him. John looks at me. I look at John. I didn't said, I don't want to go, I use they, them, how dare you? Use the wrong word. You know what I ought to do to both of you? John knows what he do. He looks at me, looks at him. I'm not going to shop her anymore rather than, teach you a lesson. And I'm like, okay. But as you said, anywhere, just in Publix, just trying to offer again, no antagonizing him, no pushing, no, that's my card or that's my. People are just freaking nuts. Again, I wasn't in a bad place. As you said, the grocery store, the post office.
It can happen anywhere. I remember one time I was in at a local grocery store here. Here in Texas, we have a grocery store chain that's called HEB. And I was walking in there and I saw this altercation between a gentleman that had a push cart and some other and the other gentleman that were arguing. And I was kind of off to the side and I was just listening to what they were doing because they were, they were saying it in a high voice. This must have been about 10, 15 years ago. And a little bit more, yeah, about 15 years ago. And the one of the gentlemen pulls out a taser and he goes, "Don't threaten me," and starts going, just and you can hear that, the electric shock, and the other person got all kind of scared. And the manager of the store said, "That's the third time you've done it today." And I'm like, "How come you didn't kick him out? Get your security, pull this guy out," And I was like, "Well, if he would have done something, I'm pretty sure the can that I was holding of corn that I had in my hand would have whacked him in the head. I'm not good in baseball, but believe me, I could throw it at that thing. I'm pretty accurate." And I said to myself, "That's it, But a lot of people do not understand that people are in a very bad situation with whatever happens in life with them. And these individuals are around town. And we that know a little bit more about violence, know how to control ourselves a little bit more, are actually doing the better, because that's what martial arts is. You want to try to avoid the whole situation. In a younger day, that can would have already flown into the guy's head way before.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And so we kind of learned a little bit more, but we have to understand that we are being the good ones because we're controlling ourselves a lot more because of the training that we have. But a lot of people don't have that training. A lot of people go out there and just blow up and things happen. And if you look at all the fights, I'm always posting fights because I'm looking at trends in the way people start, how people attack. It's more like study for me and for everybody else. And I'll send you some of these as well. And the new trends of people, how they're carrying, how they're pulling out their knives, how things occur in reality sense. It's more for education than anything else. And when you see a lot of these things, it's happening in restaurants, fast food chains, grocery stores, gasoline stations. That's when the trouble starts. And people say, "No, it's not going to happen." That's not me.
Yeah, it happens nowadays openly in places where we generally feel most comfortable being. Not when we were growing up, we knew there were places we were supposed to avoid because we're asking for trouble. But that's not the case anymore. That's like urban myth. The stuff that happens now happens where people, average people, feel the most comfortable. We said restaurants, regular stores, gas stations, all the places we're technically most relaxed doing whatever we have to do. And that's where the stuff is happening. Absolutely. And I tell people, if during the day, as you're doing your daily stuff, you just throw in some training stuff so that in an environment where you feel comfortable, all of a sudden you change modes. Not going to the gym, not going to a school, but everywhere, as you were saying about practicing every day, that I practice in a safe environment, just out of nowhere, doing stuff because the environment's not safe. When I'm in a safe environment and it goes crazy, I've sort of prepped myself that even in a place where I feel comfortable, it can go bad right away. Because if you think I only train in a training zone, I only get ready in a bad situation, when you're in a normal, calm situation and it goes to crap, you have to be ready. If your brain hasn't, that's how I train myself at home. It's why, sitting on the couch, getting up, doing stuff, because it's a safe zone. People go, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I decided just, someone jumped up, you like in Pink Panther, when Kato was trained to go after Clouseau just unexpectedly. In my head, that's what I do. So in a normal environment, I don't freak out when someone goes. And as you were saying, I think, probably because I'm older, I do try to deflect and de-escalate, like that guy in the post office or the guy in, I didn't want to start something. And it made me think when we're talking about movies, you always watch the guy, they're talking to the bad guy and they've drawn a bead, goes, "Yo, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." I'm thinking, if I was already in that situation, we would not be, as you said, you would have thrown the can already. I would have shot you already. The guy goes, or they're waving their knives and they're saying, this is what they're going to do. I went, it wouldn't have gotten that far. What do you mean? I watch it on the movie. I watch it and I said, you've got this little window. And as soon as I realize you're a threat, I'm not going to discuss this with you. If you've gotten to that point, bam, hi, let's talk about it afterwards. What do you mean? Well, I'm not going to have there's no camera rolling. There's no editor. I have no reason to make this look, draw out the drama. I'm either going to de-escalate it or, like you said, I'm going to throw that freaking can of corn at you. Wham! And what happened to him? I don't know. He didn't like corn. Maybe he was allergic to it. What do I know?
The Green Giant, but you know what, and that's what people do not understand. This is not the West Side Story where they're out there dueling with a knife. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Well, you've seen when we've done stuff and people go, sir, Mr. Frank, you wouldn't really hit someone with a tool and they have no tool. I went, of course I would. In self-defense, if it, I obviously carry lots of my own tools all the time. I said, it's my American Express card. I never leave home without it. What do you mean? I said, I don't think you get it. Whatever's in my pocket and I choose to carry is better, as you said, than whatever is home and not in my pocket. And that made me think, people have been writing, how do I sharpen my knife? I mean, it's the same concept. They show me all these amazing giant sharpeners and grinders. I went, you can carry that in your pocket? What do you mean? Me, I carry one of those little bitty pull-through sharpeners. People go, that's so stupid. I said, you know what? I have a sharpener in my pouch, in my carry-on bag, in my shower bag. I said, where I have it. And I said, I have that, super glue. Why? Well, see, the little tiny cheap sharpener you guys laugh at are with me 24/7. So I need to sharpen my knife. Let me tell you, the best knife in the world is the one in your pocket. The best gun in the world is what's with you. And the best sharpener in the world is what's in your pocket 24/7. So you can actually sharpen. Go, I got a $400 sharpener at home. Good deal. That's like, I've got that great firearm in my closet at home. Oh, I've got this really cool tactical knife at home. Training teaches you to be prepared.
Be prepared. That's exactly right. You have to be, like I said, this is not paranoia. I'm not trying to say that. We're not trying to scare anybody out there. We're just talking about the need for self-defense.
Yeah.
In today's society, it's worse off everything else. And you can blame whoever you want to blame, whatever. That blame game's always going to be there. But the problem that I'm seeing now is I'm seeing video after video. And like you said, it's happening in the places of comfort, like the post office, like the corner store, like the gasoline station, like the grocery store, in the parking lot, when you're going to your ATM. And people have gotten accustomed to it so much that it's pleasant to do it with nonchalantly, that they're bringing down their guard because other people are.
Yeah, because they're so comfortable. That only happens in movies. No, it doesn't only happen in movies. Matter of fact, the predators know exactly that's the best thing. And the lunatic, it's like that whole thing, down in the New York subway. This guy been doing it over and over and over again. Okay, don't you think that's a clue? And I don't want to get involved.
When you look at things, you said something about a clue, and you said prey. 2 words here. You have prey and you have predator. Period. Either you're going to be a rabbit or you're going to be that badger that's going to be poked with and it's going to turn around and it's going to tear a couple of coyotes into pieces, or a wolf, or what have you. And you have to understand that you have to be not intimidating looking. Predators know who to mess with and who not to mess with. And if you train, you have that self-confidence built in you. And as you walk, that expounds that aura out into everybody. And predators that said, not that guy, they're whispering, well, I'm not going to mess with that guy. It looks like That guy right there looks like he's gonna thump me a couple of times in the sidewalk. They're not gonna mess with you. But if you look like a rabbit,
Well, I had someone, they were, because I was, don't move as fast. They figured they had an old guy to beat up. And as they went off, we just made eye contact. And it was just that while he's starting to get in my face and I'm looking at him. And it must be the predator part or the secondary predator part that I'm willing to go after another predator, because he looked in my eyes and went, I made a mistake. I said, no, it's okay. I can see it in your eyes. You're going to kill me. And I was like, no, I'm still trying to defuse, de-escalate. And this guy went like this. And I'm like, it's what you're saying. Inside, they know. Doesn't matter if they made the mistake to start with. As soon as they all of a sudden realize, oops, this is not prey. I thought I had prey. This is not prey. And people go, it's not that simple. I go, yes, it is, because if prey tries to pretend that they know everything, it falls apart about self-defense. Predators, and I guarantee this, there's no way you, Brother Paul, can pretend you don't know martial arts, how to defend yourself. I could give you $1 million and you couldn't pretend you don't know how, because it's part of who you are. People who don't do it might pretend for a bit that they can do it, the Jason Bourne or the John Wick stuff, till it starts to happen. I go, you got to understand, the bad guys pick up that quickly that this is just a charade. This is an image you're projecting. Real predators, they poke them, and as you said, badger was a great thing you picked, because they don't look that nasty till you poke them. And then all of a sudden, you realize that little tiny thing down there will fucking eat a bear.
yeah,
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, you've made a mistake. And, I'm old enough right now. I'm like, you need to go home while you're one guy screamed when I was doing EP. He screamed at me and goes, you don't look like a big bodyguard. And I went, I'm not. He's thinking what he's going to do to my principal, who, was an obnoxious drunk. I admit it. But the guy goes, you know what I'm going to do? I said, you're going to let me buy you a drink or buy you a meal. I'm going to say, look, your employer's yes, I know. He's an obnoxious drunk and he's an asshole. I get it. But he pays me a lot of money so he can be a drunk and an idiot and an asshole. So I suggest you accept a drink from me or something else and go, look, we both agree. Well, you know what? I said, look, I hope you've got great medical insurance. What do you mean? Well, like I said, I get paid money to make sure he can be an obnoxious jerk. Well, I said, look at who I am. Look at my size. Look at him. He's a big shot at this casino. Yes. So think about all the people he have. He pays me so he can be an obnoxious fool. So let me buy you a drink, because otherwise you better have great medical insurance. Are you threatening me? No, not at all. I'm offering you a drink or dinner, and I'm giving you the other option. The other option is, if you choose not to accept a drink or some food, and we both agree my employer is a jerk, this is not a threat. This is a statement of fact. You better freaking have great medical insurance. So I suggest we end it right here. Would you like a drink or some food from me? You know what? And, the guy finally read the room correctly and went, oh, okay. But I was just blessed. It went my way. But there's something, as you were saying, it's the badger type thing. It's the cobra type thing. Oh, a stupid snake, tap it on the head. Oh, you can do that. You can do that a bunch of times, and you're going to tap it one too many times. You're going to push that badger too long, or poking the dog in a cage, poke, 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 or a lion or an animal, and the cage door opens. What do? Well, poke them too many times, and all your dreams and all your fantasies of the John Wick stuff, Jason Bourne, going out the window really quickly. When I've been attacked, Brother Paul, that first time, I never saw the baseball bat coming till it hit my leg. It was just, sort of behind his back, and he didn't even hesitate. And that moment of impact was one of those, what do I do now? Because I really didn't expect it. With no training, I would have crawled on the floor and they could have proceeded to finish beating me. I extricated myself from the situation. But, people, the attacks just happen and you have to respond. There's never a safe zone. But that goes back to what I was joking about. So I say, even when I talk to you, I'm always picking up little things. And what are you doing? Well, I'm actually practicing, and I'm changing to whatever, because I'm always thinking about it. But you're right, all the way back to the very beginning of this. Most of our viewers know that I'm going circles, anyways. Training is important. Training can never stop. Training is a forever life function. And again, what you and I both said, I don't care what level of training you do in any given day, but you cannot take the $5 pill out of the grocery stores, take it and go, I know self-defense now. No, you don't. I took a 1-hour self-defense course. Yeah, okay.
I got a certificate, and
Yeah.
I see that all the time, and I get it, and I understand the martial artists out there. They have to make a living. I get all that stuff. We've been doing this for a very long time. We've seen the fads come up. We've seen the fads go down, and a new fad comes up, and a new one goes down, and this new favor of the month, and we see that one go down. But there's a lot of martial artists out there that are teaching that have never been in a schoolyard tussle, yet alone a street fight, and they're out there claiming. And that's a little bit hard of a pill to swallow. I'm not saying that you have to be in a street fight. I'm saying you have to come up in a gang or anything like that. But you have to understand it. You cannot teach something you've never lived, and things are changing. Things are changing.
They are. I find some of the stuff being taught, because I always, fall back to Peter and go, for all your years, your decades of being prosecuting criminal attorney, and now the much longer period of his life where he's been an injury attorney, always reviews my work, what we can do. He loves watching all the martial art videos and the odd movie that goes, Bram, most of this stuff, I cannot defend you in court. It looks good, but if you, sticks an object in someone's eye and rip through their eye orbits and pull out both their eyes, I'm going to have a hard time explaining to a jury, why you did that. If you disembowel someone, cut their throat, puncture all their organs, or the ones who go, oh, I got him to fall down and I'm going to finish him. Hello, I know you can, but you may not, because that's the other side. Training teaches you how to react properly, so we don't end up in jail with the very bad guys we wanted to protect ourselves from. And in today's world, we're under the microscope, not the bad guy. There's no way to be a good guy and get away with the bad guy stuff. Because they'll look and go, and as soon as those people go, well, I've trained. I'm sorry about my voice. I'm reaching. They go, oh, I've trained. And the ones we would go, oh, my God, you've trained. But to a jury, oh, you're a trained martial artist?
And you just brought into a subject matter, because prosecutors will do that. Oh, he's trained this. They're going to bring out your training. And remember, we're supposed to be what? We're supposed to be judged by a jury of our just peers. And it's more like we're going to be judged by an unjust peers. Because you've been martial arts 60 years. I've been training martial arts 50 years. How many people around the United States? Yeah, there's people out there that have been doing it for 60 years, 50 years, 40 years. There is, that are out there continuously doing it. I'm not talking about the guy that went to YMCA and learned something or other when he was 11. Then he went back there when he was in college. And then he went when he was 30 years old. He put on a gi and kicked a little bit around. Now he's 50 years old, or you were 45 years old, going through andropause. He's going to start doing BJJ because he wants to go in there and look tough, and then gets a couple of tattoos. And now I'm going to do MMA and I'm going to do this. You have not been doing that for 50 years or 40 years. You've been farting around 3 months here, 6 months here.
Yeah.
And that's not So when you get to a jury and bringing people in, they're not going to get people of your quality and understand that you understand how to defend yourself and you defended yourself and you did everything right. They're going to bring in people out there that are more
I have
likely
no idea.
that is a henpecked individual at home, and they're going to bring him out there, and he has this masculine machismo thing, and they're going to say, "Oh, that's the person that used to make me scared when I was in high school." You know, that type of individual. And believe me, a lot of attorneys, and I know a lot of them, the vast majority of attorneys are leaning to the far left, and they're
Yeah.
not going to.
Well, Brother Paul, if it was people confuse peers on the Constitution, it just means other citizens. But
Right.
truly, if the jury was filled with martial artists of any kind, they'd give me a ribbon. They'd give you and me a medal and a ribbon and say, that's great. But as you said, as Peter's taught me, they hand pick jurors and they want people going to look at what we do and go, you didn't do, you're not a good warrior. You're not the old Roy Rogers. You didn't shoot the gun out of his hand. You exceeded what you were supposed to do. You're actually the monster because you should have known better with your training, or they have no idea. So yeah, and I go, which again, you've seen the way I teach. I'm always the wimp in the knife world per se. That's I wear that badge of honor. Going, yeah, I teach non-lethal and less than lethal response with an edge. My knives with impact type stuff because I don't want to teach something that's going to put someone in jail. I don't want to live with that because I watch people go, you know what? I get, yes, all the quick draw point and stick it through their eyes. I get it. It works. How do you, well, you know what? I said, everyone, if you poked yourself in the eye, yes. You can't see for a little bit and you're worried about if you hurt your eye, yes. So you think it's okay to rip someone's eyes out because you got in a tussle? I said, do you realize that a jury may say you have the right to defend yourself? You had that right, but you had no right to maim them forever and blind them. Well, it's the
You
same thing. No,
can
it's not the same thing.
you can. I always go back to this, and I always look back at predators and predators in the street. You have the hoodlum predators that are out there. They're going to pick on anybody, and they're gonna study their prey and they're going to go after. Then you got some guys out there that you got watchdogs and you have band dogs and you have sheep dogs and so on and so forth in the field. And I always look at this. You have your guard dogs, and I look at the guard dog like your mob enforcers. Most of those guys did boxing. They did some in Europe. They did some Thai boxing, and in the East they did some type of hands-on uh, Southern kung fu type of punching and low line kicking. And of course, you might have some of the guys that do their knees and the screamas and all that stuff and some of those different elements. Those are the people that are enforcers in the underworld. Those will be your guard dogs. Okay. Then you have your sheepdogs. Your sheepdogs will be kind of like your police that are out there in the field going over there. I'm going to protect the flock. They're few and far between. Okay. Okay. And then you have your band dogs, the ones that are just going to take care of that. You go into that one era and you have that big old mastiff that just sits back there and kids poke them and throw water at them and roll over them. And all of a sudden, if you jump that fence, it's your ass, you know. And I look at that in people. And when you start looking at how the enforcers fight in the mob, I'm not talking about the new mob, not the new gangbanger. I'm talking about in the days of Al Capone, all that. It was boxing.
Yeah.
You had to fight to throw a fist. I don't know that. Yes, they had knives, everything else, but they'll defend themselves with a solid fists and elbows and what have you. And that kind of stuff is what actually works in the street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you,
Yeah. Well, remember, I'm always talking about why people go, why do you teach this simple stuff? I said, because teaching security and military and street stuff, that's all I've got. And no matter what it says, you go down to a gross survival skill. You lose fine motor skills. You lose timing and sense, tachypsychia. You get tunnel vision. So, I teach, as you do, Sabat's pretty gross, simple stuff in real because it was a fighting art. I teach what I got from Remy was, oh, Bram, you found a better way to teach my art. I didn't find a better, I didn't change what he's doing. I just found it simple because I keep it simple. Why did Remy keep it simple? Because you know what? In real, it's got to be simple because I can't have 5,000 things that circle of death waiting for the phone or your computer. I don't have time for all that. And, the people go, one thing done thousands of times is better than thousands of things done a little. It's why craftspeople are better than artists a lot of time because they do the same craft over and over again. So they don't have to think about it. It's like a lot of short order cooks, I would rather deal with them than a fancy chef with people preparing all the other stuff for him. Where a short order cook does everything. So he's not stressed. And when there's people screaming, I need my food like that, not I can take 40 minutes to prepare the meal, they operate under duress. And some of that simple stuff we need when we train to learn to operate under duress. And when as we both said, when you least expect it. By the way, you know what I found out as an aside? I didn't realize that domestic cats actually are descended from tigers, not lions and pumas and that kind of thing. I went, you're kidding. They said, no. That's why a lot of them have that laissez-faire, just sort of hang and all of a sudden just go for it. And I went, oh. So all of you watching, this is my attack cat. She's the soul of a tiger. You're going to protect me. You're my badger, huh?
Anyway, my brother, we're running out of time, but I hope you guys that are out there paid attention to this. I want you guys to either click on our Patreon account as well or our YouTube account. Move forward out to ask questions. The reason we did this one is because I've been watching a lot of
Yeah, and a shameless plug, I am Professor Paul knows this is a crimp. It can't cut anybody. This is my impact rescue tool. It'll cut seatbelts. But if you want to, on www.cssd-se.com, get yourself a crimp because you know what? I'm old. I cheat. I like to, hammer people, and he hammers.
And let me put it to you this way: if you guys want a good knife, order one of Frank's. Look, and inside there has a lot of I carry one, I carry all that. And the reason I call him Bram's because he's my brother. But Grandmaster Frank has always been on that sense, and he's already done some good stuff. So if you're in the Florida area, go work out with him. But on another note, keep watching, keep sending those videos out here, keep asking questions, and again, start training in martial arts. Start doing something. If you want to that doesn't mean for you guys to be paranoid, but just means for you guys to be ready in case something does happen.
Absolutely.
Happen. The next time, much peace.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Thank you, Brother Paul. Be safe.